The cops pull over a woman. She has brain injury. They put guns on her, handcuffed. All right. It's very sad. Put up the picture full mass. Washington State, Nicole McClure, a woman who crashed her car while suffering a stroke, was ordered out of a car, ordered out via gunpoint, cuffed by the Washington police before being mocked by jail staff as she lay on the floor without help for more than 24 hours. McClure eventually spent 17 days in a hospital after having part of her head removed by surgeons and is now suing Thurston County police for ignoring her symptoms following the crash March of 2022. McClure, 40 years of age, had left work early suffering from a headache and dizziness when she was spotted by Barnes driving too slowly and weaving out of her lane as she tried to get home to Olympia. She did not respond when Officer Barnes tried to pull over, eventually crashing her car into a roundabout, all right? So here's the scene. The officer pulled his gun and yelled at her as he approached the wreckage. And she stepped out with her hands up. He accused her of resisting after she did not respond to his demand, that she dropped the car keys clutched tightly in her hands. Quote, "She's trying to use these keys to stab," he said on tape. "She's trying to use these keys as a weapon," end quote. None of that was true, by the way. Dashcam video recorded State Trooper Jonathan Barnes slamming her over the hood of his car, demanding, quote, "When's the last time you used meth? When was the last time you used heroin?" She says, "I haven't, I don't." She pleaded, "I'm confused. I think I'm tired." No. She was having a freaking stroke. Officer Barnes, who won the Core Values Award at his troops graduation ceremony in 2019, arrested her on suspicion of intoxication, driving, and felony evading, but never tested her. Did not test her at the scene for drugs or alcohol, and did not call the medics, despite the fact she was in a car crash and it's protocol. In his written report, the trooper also struck out a section detailing medical questions with the remark, "Did not ask." He took her instead to a nearby hospital where he did not mention the crash, or where she was given blood tests for alcohol and drugs that obviously came back negative. Quote, Nicole recalls being laughed at and told, "Have another shot," attorney Ann Van Kirk said in a statement. Quote, "Had Nicole received immediate medical attention, her condition would have been significantly easier to treat and the outcome far less severe." She lay vomiting for more than a day at the county jail before any medic examined her, and she was finally rushed to emergency surgery. Let me give you a response from the officials. Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office confirmed it had been served with the lawsuit. Quote, "While we can't discuss the specifics of independent litigation, I can confirm that the safety of inmate staff and the general public remains a top priority for the Thurston County Corrections Facility," said a spokesperson. The Sheriff Derek Sanders runs the Thurston County Police, and Chief Trevor Davis runs the Correction Bureau. Buck stops with them, supposedly. Gentlemen, you have work to do if your leadership is more than feckless. Dave, this thing here was so extreme. If the officer just would have followed a simple protocol, which is make sure that there's a paramedic that comes. This is a crash, individual has been involved, but he made all of these assumptions. This is when bias, assumption, this is when it leads to somebody's death or significant injury. If he would have approached that situation based on his training rather than his bias, she likely does not have this level of severe trauma. What say you?
Well, and never mind his training, if he would have approached it with just a little bit of humanity. I mean,
Yep.
he might have had some suspicions. Maybe he's been around a lot of, cases where people have crashed vehicles because they were on drugs or whatever. That's fine for him to have those suspicions, but you got to get those suspicions confirmed. You can't just operate on them. And if he would have shown a little bit of humanity, a little bit of compassion and honor, protect and serve, he would have called the medics. He would have said, look, I don't know what's going on here. She's acting strange. We got to find out and let's make sure she's okay. That would have solved it. And then he would have, a couple hours later, he could have said, okay, I was wrong. There's no alcohol in her system. She was having a medical emergency and I probably shouldn't assume that. But the moment a bad cop acts on his assumptions, the assumptions of bad cops are always filled with bias, racism, bigotry. It goes on. And that's why getting the bad cops out of the system are so important. It's not just about the police, it's about all of our safety, because the moment a bad cop sees you and you're in some distress, you're in trouble.
That's right. Very well said, dear brother.